Our first episode with Dr. Kelly. Let's do it.
All right.
Dr. Kelly.
Oh,
Dr.
I
Z.
saw my package says Dr. Kelly. Thank you. That's my first package with doctor on it. My first piece of mail.
Like first name, and I was like, Dr. Kelly. How dare you? Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to Bugs Need Heroes, a podcast about insect superpowers. Each episode, an artist and an entomologist team up to illustrate the inspiring abilities of insects by creating bug-themed superheroes. I'm Amanda.
I'm Kelly.
That's Dr. Kelly to you. Producer Derek, and who's here?
Desi. Desi was here.
They're also here. Before we get started creating this bug-inspired hero, what's bugging you, Dr. Kelly?
Thank you, Amanda, for that amazing introduction.
I'm going to say doctor as many times as I can this episode.
What's bugging me is I'm finally a doctor.
Oh my gosh, we need the party horns into our exit intro all at once.
Yeah, it is official. I defended my dissertation. And what a wild ride, my friends. What a wild ride it was. So, my goodness.
Have you got any time to relax, or you still teach? So not really.
I'm still teaching. My last teaching day is this Monday, so then I'll be. Okay. I got to finish up grades and stuff, and then I can relax for the summer, which means trying to figure out research studies. So kind of relaxing.
Apply for new jobs.
Yeah.
The grind never ends. There's no such thing as summer vacation once you're an adult. And I gotta say, the lack of summer vacation as an adult, the worst part of being a grown-up.
Yeah.
It's like, when do I get time to not be doing all the things I'm doing? And the answer is never.
For me, it's like, when do I get time to clean the second bedroom in my apartment, which is slowly filling with nonsense. It's the room I'm in right now where I record, but oh god. Also, I have too many plants. Too many plants.
Not a problem.
So, but I thought, so today we are going to cover a little buggy bug, but I thought I would also tell everyone what the defense process looks like.
Yes, we picked a bug that we could tie into doctoring, as it were. Well, we could have done leeches. Then you could have done, like, back in the old days, the doctors would just leech you, and they called that good medical marvel. Although they still leech people, don't they?
They do, yeah. Medical leeches, but they can only use them once because of
bacterial transfer,
cleanliness hazards.
Yeah.
But there are medicinal leeches.
There are medicinal leeches. Put a little pink bow on them and name them Leecharella. But before we do that, we sent you a package, producer Derek and I.
You guys did. You're so nice. It's a big package, actually. I have it behind me over here. I haven't opened it yet.
I don't know how much padding comes along with it. So
it's long. It's a long package, and I would like everyone to know that.
Thank you for the compliment about my long package.
Maddie of the longest package. It does say Dr. Kelly on it, which is very, very amusing. It is the first piece of mail I've received that says doctor.
Roll up to the DMV with this as your one piece of mail.
One piece of mail? All right, hold on. I'm going to stand up. I might have to take my earbuds out, but let's see if I can do this without. Trying to make room. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I got to take my earbuds off so I can get to the other side.
Yeah, I'll trim this dead space.
Yeah, I assumed.
Okay, so you guys sent me a sword.
Yeah, we did.
This is great. This is a Viking sword.
Well, it's a tradition in Finland and Sweden.
Ooh,
I think a couple other Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, definitely looks Scandinavian.
You present a new PhD with a sword.
Really?
But we didn't send you a hat. We sent you a sword.
Thank you. I love it. It's awesome.
The sword symbolizes the values of justice, truth, freedom of speech, and the fight for what is good, right, and true. Which all PhDs must follow, apparently.
We must. It's our jam. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, there you go.
Aw, this is so cool. It's got a little bit of an edge on it too.
Yeah, so we did pay for it to be sharpened. We figured
Wow.
in a serious situation you can remove your
Wield it.
sword from your wall. Or you've just had
The
it with a stack of papers you're grading and you just take it all the way through there.
the scabbard is very beautiful too. Wow. You guys didn't. You shouldn't have. This is wonderful.
Well, we
Hold on.
did.
Let's see if I can get this in here. It's very long. Hold on.
Well, you want to have that reach in case of zombie slashing or whatever it is you'll use it for.
This is so cool. Thank you. You guys are the best. The absolute best. I don't deserve you as friends.
Oh no,
this
you
is
worked really hard. You
wonderful.
need a sword. You gotta treat yourself with a sword.
It's absolutely amazing. Thank you. Oh, I do. I love you guys. Thank you. That's what a cool tradition. What an awesome
Yeah,
badass
where is
tradition
that?
that is.
Where is that in anywhere else? You know, Finland and Sweden don't corner the market on cool sword usage.
I think it's just Finland.
Oh, you think it's just Finland? Oh, well. Sorry
It's
about
great.
it.
I love it.
It's a good excuse for a sword.
It's a good reason to get a sword.
It's a fantastic reason for a sword, and it's beautiful. It's very pretty. Thanks, Derek.
Oh yeah, the internet is saying it's Finland. For some reason, the internet also told me it was Sweden. Maybe the Swedish are just copying the Finnish. I don't know.
It could be. It's awesome. I keep staring at it. It's very cool.
Well, I don't know what sword mounts costs for you to put it on your wall, but there you go.
It also tells me you didn't check the podcast email for over a week.
Since
we put that as the return address.
I have been very busy. Yeah. I go several weeks without checking the podcast email. Usually if there's something good in there, you let me know.
Especially if we're on hiatus. I can understand why you wouldn't. But yeah, we'll put it in the Bugs Need Heroes email, and then when she checks her email, she'll see that she has a sword on the way, and then that didn't come true. We're like, okay, I guess she'll open it on the episode.
Thanks. I've been an absentee podcaster.
Oh, well, you've been becoming a doctor, which is also important, and I can't wait to hear more about the process.
Right.
Whether you feel like you've unclenched it all post like standing in front of a jury of your not quite peers and said, I learned a thing, and they say, you did, you learned it real good, and then they
good job learning the thing, Kelly. Yeah. So for the PhD defense, one, anyone can come. It is open to the public.
Not just a jury of my almost peers, then.
Yeah, so sometimes you get professors. You kind of always get professors from your department. They get to know you over the years. They're excited for you. They want to come support the PhD students. Occasionally you'll get professors from other departments because the email goes out to the whole, I think it goes out to the whole university. And they see that, they see what your topic is, and if they're interested, they'll come. Grad students usually come as well. Friends and family come. Joe came to mine, and my good friend Alex came from New York City. She stopped at our place, and we drove in together. And one like PhD student showed up towards the question and answer phase. So I think he was a little wrong on the timing.
Yeah. I
didn't know who he was, so when he walked in, I was kind of like, oh, okay. So must be a grad student. And then your committee. So my committee is my advisor. He's been with me through the whole process, start to finish. He is my mentor. And then my committee members, which consisted of an evolutionary biologist, an ecologist, Dr. Kite, friend of the pod, Dr. Kite, who came on here to talk to us about terrestrial isopods. And then I had a geneticist as well, and a mosquito expert. And the mosquito expert is my out-of-campus committee member. So at my school, you have to have a committee member who is not from your school. I think it just kind of keeps things honest. Yeah, she's wonderful. She's awesome. I used to work for her. I was a lab manager in her lab for a year. She's brilliant. Awesome. She's at Rutgers. And she is so supportive and wonderful. A little scary, but also supportive.
The best professors are the ones you're a little bit scared to talk.
I'm a little
oh,
intimidated.
You're so cool, and I want to talk to you.
You are so much more intelligent than I am. This is tough. Yeah. So that was kind of everyone, and I planned my defense to be on Good Friday when campus is closed.
Nice, good planning.
So no one would be there to show up.
Right. No one would be like, "Oh, I've got nothing to do till class at 2:00. Oh, I'll just go pop into this.
Yeah,
this PhD.
I'll go watch this defense.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It also worked out that one of my committee members has a really tight schedule, and that they could only really be there for that day. I had a very small window of time where the grad school in April would let me defend, so it was like a 2-week window, and she could only really do like this one day. She came from Maryland to be there for my defense, which is awesome. So I'm so grateful. So awesome. So I get up. Well, first my advisor does a little speech in the beginning. He talks about where I got my other 2 degrees, where I worked in the lab, and then how I came to be in his lab, and then how proud he is of me, which is always awkward to sit there and listen to someone praise you. It's weird. Thankfully, he kept it short, so it wasn't too uncomfortable. I don't take compliments well.
Oh, me either.
I have a hard time.
You did a good job, and I'm like, I would rather set myself on fire than hear you say that.
Yeah, then hear that.
But also, I crave your validation at an unhealthy amount.
I had like the same thing.
Do not conceive me. But also, please notice that I'm doing a good job, but don't mention that I'm doing a good job. Yeah.
Tell other people in secret that I'm doing a good job, and then let it secondhand get back to me. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it directly.
Send me a letter that I can read in the privacy of my own feelings later without having to see you face.
And then reread it a few times to feel good.
Exactly. And then just like cry in my bed alone. That's what I want.
So he made this very lovely introduction, and then I presented. So my presentation consists of an introduction to the topic. In this case, Aedes tricereatus, the eastern treehole mosquito, what they are, what their whole jam is, why they matter.
Again, we're back to a tree hole. I'm just right back to the you sapsucker, you link, you tree hole,
you tree holer.
Let me go back to the tree hole you crawled out of.
So I give like a whole intro, and then the first chapter was a novel genome. So I have the first genome of Aedes tricereatus, which is the only genome we have of a native North American Aedes species. Of plenty of other Aedes from other parts of the world. And I talk about the quality of that genome was not great because I only used one female. And really I wanted the genome to get to a specific gene. Yeah, so I talked about this novel genome, how it fits in with the genomes of these other Aedes species, the quality and all that. And then another chapter was looking at a specific gene called TRPA1, which is correlated with host finding and thermotaxis in mosquitoes, but also avoidance behaviors in other flies. So if the temperature is too hot, they will move away. If it's too cold, they'll move away. Or this gene will activate, we call it activation. And if they land on something noxious, they should not eat it or stay on it. So it's really this sort of interesting, in most flies, an avoidant gene. It saves them. It's to save their lives in potentially lethal situations. But in mosquitoes, it can work to help them find hosts.
Right. Find our nasty little blood sacks that we call bodies.
Well, it's really important when your host is a warm-blooded animal like we are, a hot animal, to distinguish what is the host and what is the background. So this gene helps them really pinpoint the difference, and it's located on their antennae and their labella, which is the tip of the proboscis, and a few other spots around the face. So it helps them hone in on where that host is. It's for close range host finding. For long range, they use chemical cues like CO2 and
Okay.
bacteria.
So like, oh, that thing over there is breathing CO2 out. It's not just a hot rock
Yeah, yeah.
sitting in the sun.
There's multiple cues. Well, mosquitoes
Right.
have kind of bad eyesight. They have a hard time differentiating what like specific details are or something from the background. So they really rely on temperature to find their hosts because they're
Like a predator.
crepuscular, right? Like feel like predator.
Like their heat-seeking vision, like there
Well,
he is.
in my presentation when I was describing how that gene works, I did make a predator joke, and one
Oh,
slide
good.
was one slide was Arnold Schwarzenegger covered in mud,
Covered in mud. Perfect.
making this crazy face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Isn't there like a new Predator thing coming out soon? I feel like there
I
is.
think there always kind of is.
There
And
always
thank
kind of
you,
is.
thank you to Dr. Ped for recommending I put that slide in there.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to, but everyone laughed, so it's high pressure. It's a high pressure
yeah,
situation. So if you can throw a couple jokes in
yeah.
and
You want
feel
them to
like,
like you. They're more likely to
yeah,
pass you if they think you're like good and funny.
yeah, I'm funny and charming, it's tough for me. I really, really gotta try.
Nah, I like you. That's what matters to
Oh,
me.
thanks,
Um,
Amanda. And then yeah, the final chapter was about how temperature affects egg hatch rates in this particular species. And like a quick wrap up, all that took about I think 37 or 38 minutes. Not too
it's not
long.
too bad. It's not like they like sit there and are like you have to give like a 2 hour long presentation about a whole
I've
conference by yourself.
I went to a PhD defense once in my department that was like an hour and 40 minutes, and I thought, what is happening right now? What is this?
You need to trim this down into two separate projects. This is
This
too
is so
much.
long. My it's really the discretion of the committee how long your talk is. And my committee all wanted it to be between 35 and 45 minutes tops. They're like, if you can't describe your research in that amount of time, then there's
Right.
something wrong.
I just need the span of it. If I want more information, I'll read the paper myself.
Yeah. And then the audience gets to ask questions. So anyone who came can ask. My advisor was so nice. He opened it up with, if anyone has any friendly questions for Kelly,
Start light.
because he said the tough questions come later when it's just my committee. So he's like, let's ease her into
Yeah.
something friendly. Joe asked me 3 questions.
That's good husbanding right there. You're like, I'm just gonna throw you some softballs here, things I know
They
you
weren't
wanted to talk about.
softballs.
They was Joe, bad husbanding. You need to say things like, "How are you so cute? How did you get so cute?" I just want to ask about like, how's she so cute?
Well, he kind of called me. I had someone else had asked a couple questions first, and then he did, and I blurted out, "Are you allowed to ask me questions?" And then everyone laughed, so
Excuse
it
me,
was
conflict of
fine.
interest.
Yeah,
Because
and
we've definitely planted people in audiences for like panel shows where like this isn't in our talk,
yeah,
but it's something we want to talk about, but there's no like good
someone bring it
way.
up, please.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just gonna put a spouse in the audience and then have them be like, "Excuse me, could you talk about a feline eyesight or whatever it is,"
Yeah.
um, and then we get to talk about it. But Joe, you needed to beforehand ask what questions she wants you to ask, and then you can be a helper.
He's
You can have 1% of a PhD.
yeah, my husband is not he's not a scientist. He's a software engineer, he's a programmer, but he is a scientist. Deep
Yeah, right,
down, he
right,
is a
right.
scientist.
He's in the
Um,
STEM side of life.
yeah,
It's
and there's
not
something to be said for the science brain that you need to be a programmer too as well.
right.
So, and he's been listening to me talk about these projects
Hmm.
for the last 5 years.
Right.
So has pretty intimate knowledge of it, and he asked great questions, but they were not easy. They were definitely not easy. And then, well, later in the car, he said he had another question for me, but he knew that it was going to be really difficult, and that's the one he didn't ask. And he asked me in the car, and I was fine. So
Right.
it was
It's
okay. It
pretty
was
in the
about how
car.
proteins fold, and yeah. And then
Blasphemy. I don't know.
but so that went on for, I guess, about half an hour, maybe a little longer than a half an hour of audience questions. And then they kick everyone out. The audience, if they want to stay, like Joe and my two friends who came, they were in the hallway. And then my committee absolutely grills me for like 40 minutes.
Hangs you over the fire and rotates you. Oh
It
man.
it was not, I don't want to say it was hard. It was challenging in a good way.
It's intense. It feels like there's a
It's
lot
very
riding on
intense.
every single question. Yeah, that's fair.
I could see one of my committee members the whole time I was speaking just writing, like
Oh my
writing in a
gosh, that's the
notebook.
worst. You're like, what are you writing down about me?
Yeah, like
Is
what
that
is
good
this?
or is that bad? What does that mean?
And she immediately said, I have some criticisms. That's how she
Thanks for
started.
thanks for leading me in soft. Thanks.
And then she backed up. She said, well, maybe not criticisms. And I said, no, it's fine. You can certainly have criticisms because I'm sure they're constructive. I said, I don't think you're gonna
Right.
make fun of me or anything. And she laughed and she said, no,
Question
it's
one,
not
how are
like
you
that.
such a dumb idiot? Okay.
Yeah. Question one, why are you here? Who let
Right.
you in?
Who let
Yeah.
you in this building? But that's like the point of you've had an advisor this whole time to like
Mhm.
steer you away from obvious pitfalls of like, this is a bad question to ask. You shouldn't be asking this question. It won't lead anywhere.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things.
The if she had any like serious criticisms,
She would have brought him up sooner.
they would have come up when I had done my proposal defense. So we do a
Right.
proposal defense first. These are the projects I want to do. These are the steps I'd like to take. This is why I'm doing this. And she liked everything. So there was nothing, too bad. It was
The
mostly,
foundation wasn't cracked from the beginning.
yeah, everything was okay. But I held my own pretty well, I think. And we ended up, so not to make it sound like a huge grill session where it's just like bam, bam, bam questions. It ends up being a bit of a conversation. One professor will ask me a question, I'll answer it. Another one will join that conversation and also kind of answer that question and then add maybe a secondary question to it. It becomes a bunch of scientists having a chat, except that chat decides whether or not I get a PhD.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of focused on one person's opinions and thoughts and all
Yeah.
that.
It
So to become a PhD candidate, what are the prerequisites? Do you have to have, I assume you have to have a bachelor's. You have to have an undergrad of some kind in order
yes.
to
You have to have
apply.
you have to have a bachelor's. I don't know if every school requires you to have a master's. I think most of the time, I think the majority do.
Right.
And then you do the PhD. And once you are in the program to become a candidate, so you start as a PhD student and you're taking classes, you're meeting with an advisor, you're thinking about what projects you might want to learn, work on. And then you start to reach candidacy, you have to have defended a research proposal.
Okay.
So I write out a long proposal, and from there I have to do like a chat with them, and it's like a mini defense where they ask me a bunch of questions about the research plan. They edit it, they give me advice, that kind of thing. And then I have to complete all of my coursework and do qualifying exams. When I complete my qualifying exams, I'm a candidate. So the qualifying exams are two parts. They are verbal or oral and written. Written questions can come from your committee, and each professor will ask like several questions, and I had like a week to answer them, and I had to do a full literature review to answer those questions. Everything had to be cited. So it's like writing a mini paper. And then for the oral exam, that was, I had to do it. So this was the pandemic times, and I had to do it over Zoom. And I have a really hard time dealing with Zoom. comfortably. That took, I think that took 3 hours of them
Oh,
asking questions about the proposal and what I had been learning while doing like literature review and all that. And they can kind of ask you whatever they want. So it's a little, that one was very scary. And when I was doing that, when I was doing my oral exam, it was January 6th and people were storming the Capitol. So not
I,
a great day.
a stressful day for you all around.
Like while I was doing that, I looked down at my phone and there all these alerts are coming
Yeah.
and people are actively storming the Capitol while I'm doing the yeah. So that was a day. That was an
Oof.
interesting day.
See, I think that's like a little bit of like I think the gray area for me, understanding like what it takes to become a doctor, because it feels like you're both a student and a teacher at kind of the same
Hmm.
time, and that's like a little bit like, whoa, which is it? And the answer is you're a candidate, and like that just kind of lives in that middle space of I'm both learning and teaching. I'm a candidate.
Yeah, because you can teach. Generally, PhD students are also teaching assistants, so we
Yeah.
will teach a lab most of the time. I was an adjunct professor during mine. I'm still an adjunct professor, so I was teaching lectures and labs at that point, while having to scramble to get all of this stuff done to complete my doctorate.
Yeah, I always see in like documentaries and stuff, there'll be like the leader of a project. He's like, "Oh, these are my grad students," and so like it feels like it maybe falls underneath that. I mean, grad students are one step below though. They're the in between step between.
You would still, so a grad student can be a master's student or a PhD student.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So when
Um,
so in a documentary, when someone gestures to the grad students, they may be gesturing to
it could
people.
be both.
Okay, okay,
And
good,
well,
good.
then you also have a postdoc. And the
Oh,
postdoc is
okay.
a researcher in a lab who has completed their PhD, but it's not their lab they're in. They are
I
working
see.
for
They're
another,
mm.
a PI, which is a primary investigator, is their boss. Yeah. We have lots of terms. We have lots of terms in
My
academia.
gosh, there's so many jargon I'm learning today. So if anyone's like looking to become a doctor, what's your number one piece of advice? What do you tell them? Don't do it, or
Um, it's
the
never
reason
too late
why
to do it.
it's never too late. That's
It's
such
never too late to do it. I'm, I will be 43 this June. 43 years young. Thank you very much.
the spring of life.
And I worked for a while first before starting this journey. I worked in consulting. I worked for New Jersey's Division of Fish and Wildlife. I worked for Audubon. I did some stuff. And then I did teaching for a little while as an adjunct with a master's degree. And I decided that I really wanted to do research full time. And with the support of my husband, I said, should I do this? It means I'm not really going to be able to work
Right? Yeah. It
while I'm
means
going through this process.
it definitely is a family decision at that point, because it's like,
Yeah,
can we do this?
can we do this? And he was 100% all the way. He said, yeah, he goes, if this will make you happy, we do this.
Oh,
Do it. He said he'd rather me come home happy than miserable because it makes him happy or miserable in the process.
you know what they say? Happy wife, happy life.
Happy life. Happy husband, happy life too. I think, yeah, it's really about being a happy
Not
team.
as not as snappy.
It's not snappy though, yeah, yeah. It's about being a
Not a lot
team
of
and
not a lot of words rhyme with husband.
I mean, is there one for spouse?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Maybe like
Happy
a gender neutral.
grouse in the field. Happy spouse.
Yeah, and I would say don't get frustrated if it's hard. Because it's going to be hard and that's the whole point. It's
Right.
not everyone gets through this process.
How
And
many
make
people
sure
wash out every year, do you think?
a lot. I think
A
a
lot?
lot. Yeah.
Wow. You get all the way to like getting accepted into a program, then people are like, no, you're not cut out for this.
People drop. They almost never get removed. People drop out. They get to a certain point and it becomes overwhelming, or they have unfortunately a bad advisor, and that
Yeah.
sours them on the whole thing. Really, folks, if you're going to do this, pick an advisor you can work with who cares about you as a person You don't want to be a number in the lab. You want to have a relationship. My advisor is awesome, and I told him now, whether he likes it or not, we are friends, and we will always be friends.
Now that I am no longer your tiny little advisee, we are friends.
We are buddies.
We are peers. We're buddies. We're pals. We always seem to work things out.
So yeah, just go for it if you can.
That's
Again, it's super privileged to be able to do it at all.
So
but-
before you even get started, maybe look around and say, like, who could I build a relationship with so that they'll be
Yes.
my advisor? Interesting.
Ask students in that lab, what is it like working with this advisor? Hopefully they will be honest, and if it's not a good experience, they'll tell you, so you don't get in there and get stuck.
He makes us shine his shoes every morning for no reason.
There are bad advisors out there who will work students like I don't want to use the word slave, but kind of, you know what I mean?
Free labor. You're doing.
They will
the
work
thing
you into the ground. Yeah.
I want you to do, not the thing you need to do to progress your goals. Interesting.
And they may not care if you ever graduate. You're just there to keep fulfilling a working role.
Right. They've got these slots, and you fit into that slot. Upsetting.
Yes.
Don't like that.
Yeah. Academia is a weird place. And there should be support in place that will help you if you are in the wrong lab and you need to get out. You can talk to your chair, you can talk to the dean, but don't stay in that lab. You gotta move if it's a bad decision, and it's not your fault if it doesn't work out. It's probably not you. So remember that. Advocate for yourself if you can. And if you need someone to talk to, you can email me and complain all you want, because I'm here.
Dear Dr. Kelly, you told me I could be a doctor, and now look at me.
Now look at me.
I'm losing my hair. I'm stressed. I eat nothing but ding-dongs hidden in the lab.
Don't be concerned if your hair goes prematurely gray.
I hate to be this person, but what is the financial burden of becoming a doctor?
Oh
Significant?
boy. Significant.
I was gonna say.
So, one, do not say yes to a PhD program that cannot fully fund you.
Ooh,
because
okay. Good advice.
I did not have to pay for my PhD. I did towards the end because COVID made me go like an extra 2 years.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say, 5 years felt long to me. I was like, 5 years seems long.
Oh, no, 5 years is about normal. I went longer than 5
really?
years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
5 years, yes. 5 years for a PhD is the norm. Sometimes it's longer.
So a medical doctor is similar.
I don't know.
But they have to go to like bachelor's, and then they have med school, and then they have
and then they have residency.
And then they have residency where they're still technically not like a full-fledged, like, I'm a doctor, but I'm not a doctor.
They're called student doctors, I think.
Yes.
At that point. Yeah.
They go to like a teaching hospital, blah blah blah.
I've been watching The Pit on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I'm learning all about that now. It's
I
great.
keep seeing all these like TikToks of like real ER nurses, like, this is it. This is as close as you'll ever get. The changes they make are so that it's for TV, but other than that, it's like, this is what it's like. I have a cousin who's an ER doctor who cousin-in-law technically, who's a ER doctor, and it's Anyway, we're not here. We're not paid advertisement for The Pit on Netflix.
Another episode. But so my school paid for my tuition for 5 years, and I don't remember. I think I also got a stipend, but it was like nothing. It was maybe, was it your stipend for the year, depending on what school you go to, could be $15,000.
Right.
It could be $70,000.
Right.
It depends on where you go. Mine was definitely the low end. If I did not have a partner who had a full career and could support both of us the whole time, this would not have been possible. It is very, very much, which is a problem, because it shouldn't just be people who can afford to do this do this. It's ridiculous.
Cost prohibitive of maybe the people with the best ideas are.
Yeah. So that's an issue. Although folks from socioeconomic spots that are much harder than mine do tend to get scholarships and funding. There's ways for you, if you were from those areas, to apply for extra funding. I don't know about now, but there was. We'll see. But
Hopefully.
you make nothing. I knew several PhDs who were all living together.
Yeah.
Like most people have roommates, like 3 to 4 roommates just to live, and
Party
they're
at
all
the candidate house.
and, and you're all eating ramen.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous. You
A
make no
big pot
money.
right there in the middle. Um, okay, so I mean, you're really putting your life on hold, your career,
Hmm.
your life on hold to go pursue this thing that is important to you, obviously,
Yeah,
but hopefully also pushes
it's
you
worth it.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Oh, interesting.
Well, and as a woman, I mean, if you want children,
Yeah.
what
Hard.
a decision. I did not want children.
Right.
It's not for me. I love all my friends' children. That's enough. Aunt Kelly here whenever you need me. Um, but I have friends who have gone through a PhD program and got pregnant towards the end, and they
Yeah.
had to plan it that way. They're like, okay, I'm in the writing stage.
Right.
Now I can get pregnant.
Now I can sit at a desk instead of
Yeah, now I'm
trying.
not going to be in the lab using
Right.
chemicals that could
Right.
be harmful to my child. I almost said offspring because I can't stop thinking.
My progeny.
God. Humans aren't offspring. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, but I guess they maybe are.
Not
Uh,
offspring. Okay. So you have to really plan your life around how long this is going to take
yep.
and
And
what
you
are
may
my
not know
goals.
how long it's gonna take,
Right.
so
You may not
that's the
know.
problem.
And one of the things that sorry to be a feminist killjoy on the podcast. Wrong. I love being a feminist killjoy. Um the men don't have to think about that stuff as much because if they have
No,
a partner who's getting pregnant who's all not I assumably not also in a PhD program somewhere, which maybe they are, maybe you fell in love
it could be. Yeah.
in the in the
Over the
light of a
fume
the field notes. They're,
hood.
just injecting chemicals into mice. I love the way you do that. So cute. Anyway, I don't know what doctors do in PhD programs. Maybe you're injecting things into mice. I don't know. So when I asked you what the most doctory bug was, what the bug that most reflected the PhD program, you
Mhm.
came back with fruit fly.
Yes. Yeah, fruit fly is your classic experimental bug.
I know I just said something about lab rats or whatever, but fruit fly.
You said mice, I think. Yeah, mice are
Oh
also
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
common in the lab.
I think my sister-in-law used to work with mice, which may be why it's in my head. Producer Derek's lovely bride. Um, so fruit flies. Why fruit flies?
Well, they lots of reasons why fruit flies. They reproduce very quickly.
That would be my
They
number one thought. Is that like I need to see the results of this by Friday. I need the results
now,
on my
yeah.
desk by Friday. Okay, well I'm gonna need 13 generations between now and then.
Well, one female can lay about 500 eggs. As
It's wild to me. How can one
the eggs
little
are
teeny
tiny,
tiny life lay so many eggs? I mean, the eggs just must be so infinitesimally
minuscule.
small. Yes, like but like all the bugs we talk about, like, and then she laid 50,000 eggs. Like, where does she keep them? Where are
In her
they?
abdomen. They're in the abdomen.
Like I
She's
see
got
it when it's like a
she's got
termite.
a plump little rump and it's full of
Yes.
eggs.
When it's a termite, I can see like here's her little body and here's her egg making organ, and it's like
Mhm.
twice the size of her. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It's the math is mathing.
Or like a
But when it's
bee. Yeah, bees are kind of
yes,
big.
they're kind of
Or an ant
bigger.
queen. Yeah. No,
But like
they're
when
just
it's just
tiny.
like a fruit fly, I'm like, where are you keeping it? Where does it go?
Well, what's neat about it, I mean, not only the volume of the eggs, but is the turnover time. So
Yes.
those eggs will hatch in 24 hours into little
I mean,
tiny
you see
larvae.
the joke a lot about like a fly, and they're like, "I'm just a child," and then like over the course of the conversation, they become an old man and die or
Yeah,
whatever. That joke's very, very. I'm
that's
sure it
pretty
has its
fair.
own TV trope page. It's so common. Um, s- it's that at all indicative of how long a fruit fly's life may or may not be?
No, they live for about 50 days as
Oh, that's a
adults.
lot longer than
They
I
have a
was
long
expecting.
time.
I was
Well, you
expecting
got to
like
keep
10
making
days.
them babies.
Yeah.
So they come
'Cause
out, larvae hatch in like 24 hours, and then they pupate after only like 4 days. And then that pupation lasts 3 to 4 days, and then boom, you've got adults. And then the females will mate within a few hours, and in 24 hours, lay more eggs.
so in a week you could see the whole life cycle
Yep,
of
yeah.
a fly. So the part about like the life cycle being very fast is true. It's just that bug will do it several times.
Yeah, they live longer than, yeah, than
Longer than
the meme.
the meme of 24
Yes.
hours for a fruit fly. But it's actually just 24 hours, lay eggs, a couple days as an egg.
Mhm.
No, 1 day as an egg,
No,
a
one
couple days
day.
as a pupa, and then
Oh,
come out as an adult and start the whole thing over again.
it's fast. It's very, very
Oh.
fast. So yeah, you can have many, many generations. And if you're looking to especially do hereditary studies,
Yeah.
how certain traits or characteristics are inherited, if you've got a fast turnover time, you can really watch that magic in real time. It's
Right.
they're
So you
awesome little. We
can
call them model organisms.
So you mentioned off air, sorry, but you
Mhm.
mentioned like geneticists specifically using
Yeah.
fruit flies. So they're doing some sort of genetic work with the fruit fly, and then seeing how it affects their great grandchildren, that sort of thing.
That's part of it.
Oh,
You can also generally when you're looking for mutations or
uh-huh.
how mutations are inherited. So one to back up just a little bit. Um, One of the first genomes that we had sequenced fully was the fruit fly. And that's
Oh,
because
okay.
we've been working with them for so long. Their
Right.
genome is pretty small. It has around 14,000 genes. Comparatively to humans, we have 25,000, about
Oh, okay.
25,000 genes. And they only have 5 chromosomes to our 46.
I was gonna say, though we have like nearly 50.
So they're really pretty easy to manipulate because everything is on a smaller scale. And we've been studying fruit flies. They've been our model organism for over 100 years.
So a
It's been
model organism, can you define a model organism for me? Because I'm thinking, as you talk, I'm imagining pea pods, and some of them are blue, or some of them are purple,
yeah, like
some of them are
Mendel,
white.
Gregory
Mendel.
Mendel. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I know about like
A model
selective
organism
breeding.
can be used. You can do an experiment on the model organism,
Uh-huh.
and so many of the genes in a fruit fly, for instance, about 60% are the same, not exactly the same, but they're analogous to genes that we have.
They have a similar structure to
Similar,
what we
yeah, similar
okay.
purpose, similar structure, or function, not purpose. So it's a function. Purpose is a little wiggly wobbly. We won't say that. Yeah, function, and so if the model organism has a gene that functions in a way that we care about with our own bodies, we can use that to know what our genes will do without
Oh,
messing
okay.
with us.
Right. A little more
Yeah,
frowned upon to do experiments
on
on
humans.
humans.
Yeah, a lot harder. There's a lot of red tape. Um,
Yeah. They
fruit
talk back,
flies. Yeah,
you know.
fruit flies don't talk back. They're pretty easy to work with, and yeah, they really you can have many, many generations very quickly. Um, we actually figured out what chromosomes were because of the fruit fly. That was
Oh,
Thomas
really?
Hunt Morgan discovered that in 1910. So pretty incredible. He got the Nobel Prize for
1910?
it in 33. Yeah.
That's wild to me. I always think of like all these like big gene things, and maybe this is still true, but like all these gene discoveries as being like post World War II. But maybe I'm thinking of like helix DNA and stuff. I have no idea when like that sort of stuff was observed.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But what was his study?
1910. That's cray cray.
I have notes. I should look at my notes. I'm like, what study was that? He was looking at
Sorry.
how eyes. So most fruit flies. Let's talk a little bit about their body plan, right? So fruit flies, we've all seen them. They're teeny tiny. They usually have red eyes, yellowy orange bodies to maybe brown black bodies in color range. But occasionally So Thomas Hunt Morgan was breeding these flies and noticed a white-eyed male. So that is
Right.
a mutation. And he bred this white-eyed male with some red-eyed females. And first generation, no white-eyed offspring. Second generation, 3-to-1 ratio of red eyes to white eyes. And the only white-eyed offspring was a male. So that 3-to-1 ratio, and also where there was no white eyes in the first generation, we can think about Mendel's pea pods.
Yes.
So that's a recessive gene. That's a recessive trait. Because in that the third generation, now you're getting the male, which means 2 copies of that gene have been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
I like Amanda's doing the finger. Yes.
Sorry, I'm doing the finger words.
Bring them together. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing where people are like, well, your mom has blue eyes and your dad has brown eyes, so they can't have a blue-eyed baby or whatever. And I'm like, well, maybe they can though, because what if dad's mom has blue eyes or whatever? And like that's where it starts to get like
It gets very it could get a little complicated.
yeah.
But that's like, what is that? When did we learn? When did we learn the
Punnett
Mendelian cross, the Punnett
the
square?
square, yeah,
High
that's
school?
what I know.
I
High
guess
school for me, I think high school bio for me,
Yeah.
which would have been when I was 14, sophomore in high school.
But
15.
that's how we figured out that chromosomes, we do
Mhm.
the recombination between males and females, and then that's how we inherit the recessive
And
trait.
is
I
that
have blue eyes, so I
yeah,
have a recessive. Amanda
I'm
has blue
also blue
eyes.
eyes. But my children have blue and one has hazel because
Hmm.
dad has hazel. My husband has hazel eyes. And interestingly, I think my youngest is the only grandchild to not have blue eyes
Oh, really?
on my side of the family. All the other grandkids have blue eyes.
Blue. I,
Yeah.
oops, sorry, I bumped the mic there. My yeah, so my parents have blue eyes. My brother and I have blue eyes, and then both sets of my grandparents had blue eyes.
Mm.
But not all my cousins do because,
Because of the
other
way
people come into the
yeah,
family with
yeah, yeah.
brown eyes, and we all have light hair. My brother's a redhead and I'm a blonde.
I was a blonde as a kid, but I'm not a blonde as an
Yeah.
adult. Which I don't know.
I like freshen up my blonde. I'm not
Keep it fresh.
yeah, I'm no longer as blonde as I was when I was a child. But
Right, yeah. Who is though?
I do bring my hairdresser photos, so I'm like,
This is it.
this is
My
this
little
is my
toe-headed
blonde.
self.
Yeah.
This is what I want to be. Yeah.
So
Fair
that's
enough.
what we keep it. Otherwise, I'm like a dirty blonde. But
I think Uncle
anyway,
Derek once said, "Never trust a grown man who's still blonde."
my Joe has a blondish beard. My husband
Oh,
is blonde.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me that so many men have different colored beards than hair.
He has other colors in his beard, but he has like white,
Yeah.
not like white, but like platinum blonde, and his
Mhm.
eyebrows are blonde. My husband's eyebrows are blonde. Yeah.
It's so. I would love to know more. Someone out there must know about these sorts of things. Like, what about like different hair types on your body causes them to be different
Different colors.
colors?
Well, he was a blonde boy.
Yeah.
He's
Yep. A little
shaves his
toe-headed
head
boy.
now, but yeah, he was a
Yeah.
little toe-headed boy, and I was a toe-headed girl. So if we had children, we would have blonde-haired, blue-eyed children.
Like
So
pretty much for sure, unless there's
for
some
sure,
sort of
yeah.
interesting. I find this stuff very interesting.
Inheritance is neat, but we can thank the fruit flies and all the fruit
Oh.
fly research for understanding how all of this works.
For their tiny blonde hair that they've been
Yes, for their little blonde hairs and their little not so blue eyes.
so
Their
blue
white
eyes.
eyes.
Okay, so there's a white-eyed grandpa, as opposed to they have red eyes usually. I think
Usually they have red eyes. Yeah, sometimes they
Okay.
can have orange, but they're
Right.
mostly red.
But it wasn't till that male grandson. I hate to use the word grandson because it feels very human to have a grandson. You know what I mean?
That fly's got a grandson. It's
That's
okay.
but like it didn't show up again until 2
Yes.
generations down.
Yeah, because it's recessive.
And
So
that
you
was
need 2
kind of
copies.
the process of understanding how like
Yep.
recessive versus dominant
And
traits.
that was in, so I should clarify that Drosophila or Drosophilidae is a whole family of
Oh,
fruit
okay.
flies. There's around 4,000 species of Drosophilidae. When we usually say fruit fly
Uh-huh.
in science, you're probably thinking of Drosophila melanogaster.
The one who lives in my kitchen.
You could have many in your kitchen. There's lots of different species.
Oh, Yeah, it's true.
But
We're back
Drosophila
to the whole thing where they just become different species all at once, and they're all living. My neighbor could have a different fruit fly population than me because it's across the street, and therefore the bugs never crossed.
Well, they come in on your fruit. Sometimes eggs come in on your fruit, and you can have species from all over the place. So usually they're Mediterranean in origin, but they've all kind of spread everywhere.
Fruit fly is one of the ones where I understand when we talked about the miasma, the bugs just spring up out of the miasma. Fruit flies do feel like one of the ones where I'm like, I can see how they got there. How
Why
they
we
thought
think
they
that,
just showed up because I'm fine, not a fruit fly in sight, and then suddenly hundreds. It feels like
and so
like,
fast, so
and
quickly.
so fast.
Yeah.
I buy bananas on Tuesday, fruit flies on Thursday, and I'm like, where could you possibly have come from?
They're looking for kind of soft, already soft fruit to lay their eggs on.
So buy bananas Tuesday, fruit flies on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's the bananas are nonstop.
I can never finish a whole thing of bananas. It's something.
I'll send my son to your house. He's a banana.
He can eat my bananas. He's
He has
welcome
always
to.
been a banana. His 6th birthday party was banana themed.
No.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cute.
He had a shirt on that said, "That's bananas," made by my mother, his grandgrand. He had it at his birthday party. The only thing he wanted was to go to. There's a park near our house called Monkey Park where they have like a monkey's sculpture.
I mean, you have to if your theme is bananas.
Your theme is bananas, so he wanted to go to Monkey Park and eat bananas, and specifically, he didn't want cake. He wanted banana bread.
Oh, I love that. I want banana bread right now.
My dad makes really good banana bread.
I love banana bread.
We all love the banana bread.
It's one of my favorites.
Part of it is that he measures the chocolate chips with his heart instead of a recipe. This is how many.
As he should. As he should. God, now I might make banana bread later. Now I'm jonesing for it.
Great.
I'll pretend I'm a little fruit fly and I'll mush up those bananas. So when they do land, they're really messy eaters and they start.
They do that.
They do a little hand thing.
A little fly thing I hate where they're like.
They're just cleaning themselves.
I know, but it looks
they're
like
not being maniacal.
They're like they're
rubbing their little hands together.
Can't wait to ruin this food. You know what they say: food never goes bad. Something else just starts to eat it first.
I should have sent you a picture from my defense. At one point, I was comparing blood feeding or animal feeding flies to non, and I have a picture of a little fly with boxing gloves on.
Yes.
That I put on, and it kind of reminded me of those little hand movements. I try to keep it a little bit light. I don't know if our lovely listeners can tell, but I'm not a super serious person. And
I don't think you could be a super serious.
I like to have fun, so
yeah.
But yeah, so the fruit flies, they will land on these fruits. They're looking for soft spots, and then they will secrete some digestive enzymes and loosen it up so they can slurp it up. And by the time they are done, everything is so wet and slippery. It is gross. It's so wet that they have to.
That you like spit the what we would call stomach acid, but it's not quite stomach acid, onto the thing to start digesting it, and then they slurp it up.
Slurp it up. And it gets so wet and gross that before they pupate, they have to leave. They're like, I can't do this here. I gotta find something dry.
They have to find somewhere drier than the place that they've licked everything.
It's just like a pile of goop by the time they're done with it.
A slip and slide of
of enzymes.
Nasty.
And so then they go off and they pupate, yeah.
So are they a pretty basic bug otherwise, or do they have a lot of unique characteristics to the fruit fly? Or is it being basic that kind of helps them be such a basic asset?
Help makes them be a model, fairly model organism. And because I think, like I said, they have fairly small genome and very few chromosomes. I remember working with fruit fly chromosomes for my undergrad in my genetics class, and we were looking at inheritance and recombination, and that was pretty fun. Like, they're so easy to use. You undergrads use them for like lab, like bio lab or genetics
Right.
lab. Yeah, which
So
is great.
is there fruit flies that are like, I only see this in the wild, wherever, one of these 4,000 fruit flies. Are there fruit flies that are specific to like, we've made this one. This is our lab fruit fly.
Oh, not a species.
Okay,
So
yeah.
we will take an existing species and modify it through
Yeah.
mutations, and you can make all kinds of wacky things. You can make an eyeless fly.
Oh,
You can make a curly winged fly that can't really fly very well. You can make a wingless fruit fly. Commonly, you'll get wingless fruit flies when you have reptiles to feed. So you just
yes.
dump them in
Uncle,
the
he's not
kennel
producer Derek
cage.
when he comes to my house. He's Uncle Derek when he
Uncle
comes to
Derek.
my house. Uncle Derek, this last weekend brought some wingless fruit flies to show to my two children, and
Did
my
the kids
youngest,
like it?
um, the 6-year-old boy was like, "Cool." Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go play Switch or whatever it was he was doing. But my 3-year-old girl fell in love with Uncle Derek for the day. She was
Aww.
like, "Whoa, this guy's got bugs. He's cool." For the rest of the day, she followed him around and was like, "What's Uncle
Oh,
Derek up?"
that's so cute. Did he love it?
He does not
Did he
super
tolerate
love
it?
interacting with my children. As they get older, I think they're more intriguing to him. He's definitely not into. I say this like he's not listening to this conversation right now, but
He
he's less.
is.
He's less into babies. He doesn't like babies. Babies are no.
I also don't know what to do with babies. I would
I
like to hold a baby briefly and be
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, look at this little guy. That's cool.
I've got
Please
my
take this back now.
oxytocin
I'm done."
released now. Take it away.
Yeah,
So
I'm done.
no, as
I
Derek's
love
more
little kids.
interested
Little
in
kids are fun.
older kids, elementary school age. He knows
Hmm.
more what to do with because they ask him questions about like, but why is the fly wingless or
Your
whatever.
little dude is getting there.
Yes, and he likes bugs, but also I sent you a picture. We had a giant house spider. We were doing gardening,
Yeah.
and and
Huge.
and he really can see the push and pull within my oldest of he finds the bugs fascinating, but society, his father, teaches him that like bugs are not to be like touched or messed with or anything. So he wants to investigate the spider that's living in the hole in our garden. But he also has been taught that he should scream and run away when he sees a spider.
Aw,
And so
that's a
he has
shame.
this like where he like gets close and he goes, "Ah!" And then he leaves, and then he gets close again, and he goes, "Ah!" And then he leaves. It's okay, dude. And like I'm having a whole conversation with the house spider ended up crawling up my dad's arm because we were out there gardening, of course. And my mother, of course, screamed her head off because the spider is going up my dad's arm. And I'm like, would you relax? You're way too big for her to spend her venom on you. She can't eat you, so she won't
She's
bother investigating. I
and
say
your
that like
dad
I would have also just screamed and gone,
your dad wasn't nervous? He was fine?
he was I wouldn't say he was unnervous, but he was aware that the spider just needed a not here. No, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, a gentle little, "Here's a
This
situation."
this
Yeah.
isn't where you belong. So long. It's like the cranberry bog. People are like, "Are you afraid of spiders?" You're like, no. Okay, but I need you to understand. Are you afraid of spiders?
Because
So
there's gonna be spiders.
it's gonna be spiders. Spiders are where they find you. Um, all
Well,
this is
I think he would
pointless.
have liked the little fruit flies then. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
are
And
not.
they kind of hop instead of fly because they can't fly.
Yeah.
Obviously. They kind of do a little like broing, broing.
Well,
And the 3-year-old has since I sent you a picture has been drawing flowers with fruit flies.
so cute. Picture was so cute. I I can see the shapings of a rose and some
Yeah,
leaves, and I love the little dots that
he
were the
calls it a
bugs.
rose, but I think it was a
Adorable.
tulip because we have a bunch of tulips in our front yard.
Oh,
And because the roses aren't bloomed yet, they don't bloom for months still.
no, that's late. Yeah.
But the tulips are right now, and so I think she's drawn tulips, not roses. But it's fine, it's fine.
So
So
cute.
maybe she's the one I get into bugs instead of the one who had a natural interest in bugs. She'll be the one I shape.
Let's get them both into bugs. You tell them they can video call Aunt Kelly,
Yeah,
and I will show
perfect.
them the bugs, and we can chat. It'll be
I
fun.
often my oldest will find a bug somewhere and he's like, can you tell your friend Kelly about this? And I'm like, I certainly will, son. Don't worry about that.
I love that.
You need to tell your friend Kelly about this. Usually I
He's
do. I
he's
don't
the best. He's very cute.
know. He's a nice little guy. So okay. So you can make them wingless. You can make them have curly. So there's been a lot in the news lately about genome tampering because they did, but also didn't, quote unquote, bring back the direwolf. End quote.
Yeah, they did not bring back the direwolf.
They
I'm
they
not
made a
gonna rant about
scientific
that.
dog.
I'm just gonna say I hate it, and I hate
Yeah,
everything about it.
I get it. They
And
wanted the clickbait title of it. They made a big
uh,
white
well, now it's
dog.
being used as an excuse to take real wolves off the endangered species
Yeah.
list. I
It
don't like it. This is why words matter, everyone. Words
yes.
matter, and yeah.
Branding
But
mattered. Yeah.
we're not gonna get
We're not gonna get into that. We're gonna make
into it.
some
Just
hairy
just
rats.
just know that I'm angry. So before we should start, I guess Amanda, you can start drawing.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you some more fun facts about our friends the fruit flies.
Okay, I'm ready.
So they have the best gene names.
Oh, I'm ready. Okay. We've had some good gene names, so
We've been working, like I said, on fruit flies for over 100 years.
mhm.
Everyone thinks scientists are like stuffy robots. We're not. We love a good pun. We we like jokes. Sometimes the jokes are only funny to us, and that's okay. They're in jokes. So we have there, like I had mentioned before, there's lots of analogous or genes between us and fruit flies. Analogous just means they have the same function. I always forget how much jargon I need to explain and how
Well,
much I
see,
don't. So,
interestingly, analogous in the art worlds means the two colors are next to each other on a chart,
ooh,
a color chart.
that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
They flow into one another.
Yeah.
Analogous color scheme.
So we have, and because of that, fruit flies are studied frequently to deal with human medical issues and how to solve them, or if not solve them, make them a little more treatable or better. So lots of their genes and their gene manipulation is to help us. We should all high five a fruit fly just for that. Without them, we would not have a lot of some of the medical breakthroughs we've had. For instance, because of fruit fly work, we now understand how tumors form and how they spread. And that first research was done on fruit flies. Also, how insulin signaling works. Fruit flies have their own kind of insulin. It's not exactly the same as ours, but
I've never thought of a bug developing like cancer or like a tumor.
we make them develop cancer, and then we figure it out. But because
I would have thought, yeah.
again, because of those generations, right? Those fast generations, we can really learn very quickly how some of these things work. And they have little tiny tube-shaped hearts, but we've learned which genes control heart function by turning things. We can turn genes on and off to see how it affects different functions, different physical functions or physiological functions. So we now know how heart genes work because of the tiny, tiny fruit fly. And they have like teeny tiny brains, so we've done a lot of neural mapping. We understand neurons and how neurons signal each other and how all that connection works and interlinks with behavior because of fruit flies. And again, some of that has to do with fun genes. So I'm going to go through a small list here of gene names. The first one is called cheap date. And when you manipulate that gene, the flies are really attracted to alcohol.
You turn the fruit fly into a lush, that is horrible.
There is a second gene that does the same thing, and it's called lush. So
Oh, there you go. That is so funny. That's so
I think they may have renamed that
probably.
Did they
gene.
rename
Probably
it?
have.
They do occasionally rename things when they get in trouble for inappropriate naming.
Yeah, well, yes, I assume that's true across all boards.
I think for the cheap date one, the scientists got a lot of flack for it.
Sure, gotta let's have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's interesting to think. I don't need to get into, but like the idea that you could turn an alcohol gene on. Does that mean you could turn an alcohol gene tough.
They were looking. I think it was the cheap date one where they were looking at alcoholism and
Yeah,
addiction
that
and
would
that
make
kind of
sense.
thing. But you start with the fruit fly and then figure it out before dealing with human patients. One's called clown, and so usually the adult eyes are red, and this will make them a mosaic of white and red. It increases the number of
Oh,
pigment cells in the eye. It's kind of cool. I think you'll like this one, Amanda, because you were talking about them hopping before. There's
yes.
a gene called dachshund, and it gives them tiny legs.
Little
Teeny tiny
legs,
little
right?
legs.
That's funny.
Discovering you can give adult flies tiny legs is very fun. Dachshund.
Does this fruit fly need a tiny graduation cap? Are you gonna get to wear a graduation cap? I guess you probably don't.
So I decided not to walk
Uh-huh.
because the whole process is I'd have to be
Annoying.
there with the yes, I'd have to and hot usually.
Yeah.
I'd have to be there with the undergrads and the master's students, and it would take 3 hours before they even got to doctoral students. And there's not many of us. In my department, I think there's only 8. I think there's 8 of us this year. So you can see how like few people get PhDs. But also the regalia,
Oh yeah.
Amanda. It would be I think like $1,200 to buy the regalia.
To get the like cap, gown, and then my cord, and then
Oh,
the
yep,
whatever
the
the
whole
cape thing they often wear for PhD students.
what is that? Yeah. No, I'm not paying that. And
I mean, essentially,
to rent it I think was 400.
you're gonna pay hundreds of dollars for what is essentially a photo opportunity.
Yes.
Mm. I have the certificate. I'm putting it on the wall.
Yeah,
People will know.
you're gonna send me the diploma. I'm gonna frame it and
Yeah,
I'll be fine.
I can go to the dollar store and get one of those little sparkly, like it says like
The
grad on it.
tassel,
Put it
yeah.
on and like take a cute photo with my parents and call it a day. You know.
Yeah. Well, what's nice is that I think several of us, the dean, I think the dean was asking if the doctoral students from the school of science were doing this, and my one of my committee members said no, because it's expensive and will take 3 hours. So they're so nice. They decided to do a small private ceremony
That's
just
nice.
just for the doctoral students,
They really
and I
should
think
just
they're
do that anyway. If there's under 10 of you every year, just do a
yeah.
separate little thing.
So I will do that. No regalia. I'll just wear a dress or something, and there'll be like food and refreshments, and I guess my family can come. I'm sure my parents would want to come, so maybe that'll be a thing. But I do not want to do like the big celebration, the big. I did that for my master's, and it was so hot and took forever, and yeah,
Yeah, no
it was
thanks.
something. Or for my bachelor's, I don't think I did it for my master's. I think I just did it for my bachelor's degree. Much to
Yeah,
my
I
parents' unhappiness.
I didn't walk either. I was like, it's fine. Just send me the paper.
Yeah, I don't need that.
No thanks. And maybe it'd be different if I was younger, you know, if I was one of those people that went to college and also it might matter if I like went to a fancy school, you know.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might be
maybe.
worth it to have like a picture of you graduating like Yale or Harvard or
If I
Brown,
went to
you know, like
Columbia, yeah, maybe
exactly.
a Princeton,
Maybe
but
a picture of me being young and hot in my graduation.
yeah.
Maybe that would have mattered to me more. But
But at 42, nah, I'm good. I don't need this.
line up all the
My
pictures of
husband
me.
doesn't want to do this. He's like, please
Yeah.
tell me you're not walking. I don't want to. Ugh. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, great for everyone who wants to walk. You
Yeah,
should if it will make you
we're not here to
happy. Yeah,
yuck your
it's
yummy, okay?
just not what I want to do, so I'm not going to.
So I won't.
So I won't. There's some other fun. There's a whole gene family called Halloween,
Huh?
and some of the genes are called Spook and Ghost and Shadow and Shade, and they do like different weird things to the fruit flies. I don't remember what all of them are, but I love that it's a whole family, gene family called Halloween. There's one called I'm Not Dead Yet. Nice little Monty Python joke there. And supposedly it doubles the fruit fly's lifespan, but this is pretty hotly contested.
Oh,
I don't remember if the authors had to walk this back or not, but there was like a lot of a lot of issues with it.
Debate about what. Yeah,
If it was really doing that or not. Yeah. And that's why we have peer review, and that's great. You can't just say a thing and it's true. We have peer review where other scientists will read your work before it's published, and it'll either get published or not, and then the review never stops. So someone else will read your paper if it is published and go, wait a minute, something isn't right here, and occasionally we get retractions and stuff. And another gene called Ken and Barbie. Can you guess what this one is, Amanda?
Okay,
What
okay.
this one does?
Not just Barbie, but Ken and Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say what I'm guessing on the pod? Is there
Can you say it?
Does it smooth them out?
Yes.
I'm a scientist.
Dr. Amanda, coming at
Dr.
you.
Amanda, here I am. I will not be walking. Please send me my diploma.
Adults have no external genitalia. They're just smooth on the outside.
It's just smooth all the way down, baby.
Oh.
Upsetting.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Here's a Sonic Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog. So there was originally a hedgehog gene.
Hedgehog.
Then,
I think I've heard of hedgehog gene, which is when it makes them like hairy, spiky. But maybe I'm thinking of, but I think that's in like
I think it's body. I don't really remember what hedgehog does. I don't remember if it's like outward like bodily spike or if it has something to do with protein. Could be like protein weirdness too. But then so they found like a linked gene, so they called it Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
And then this gene has an inhibitor gene. An inhibitor gene will stop this gene from working properly called Robotnikin.
I knew it! Yes! Yes! Love that movie.
So, and these are not all the same scientists who came up with this. They just kind of pinged off of each other to make dumb names, and that happens all the time. Swiss cheese.
I feel like I hear it from birds. Swiss cheese. Oh, nothing good happens when your thing is named Swiss cheese.
No.
Does it make holes in their wings?
Holes in their brains. It's used to study Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Oh, that.
We call them vacuoles, not holes, but they are essentially holes.
They're holes. They're not supposed to be there, and they are. Oh, they just found. I was just talking to my dad about this. The shingles vaccine in adults is being linked to like a lower dementia rate.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Something about the shingles not getting into your brains. So that's nice. Don't let shingles in your brains.
It seems like dementia and Alzheimer's are a bit of a spectrum on what causes. Like, it doesn't seem to be one thing.
I think it's one of those things where like a lot of things fall under the term dementia, but they have a lot of different.
Yeah.
Dementia's more about
like diet. There have been studies that talked about diet affecting it. There's all kinds of things. I don't know. I worry about it. My grandmother passed from dementia. And,
our grandmother also died with
dementia. Horrifying thing to deal with. Oh yeah, gum disease. Producer Derek is saying gum disease too.
Is hereditary? Or no,
linked to dementia.
Linked to dementia. I knew it was linked to heart disease because the plaque from your teeth gets into the plaque of your heart. Which is wild.
Yeah, brush your teeth, folks. Floss when you can. Use mouthwash. Be healthy.
Take care of yourself.
Yes.
I tell my kids all the time, you only get one body, so you need to take care of it.
Yes. Yeah, we don't. We have not gotten to the stage of science where we can put our brain in a robot body.
Have you heard?
Despite what C-Lab may have taught you.
Have you heard the Disney theory that the reason why they renamed Frozen is so that when you Googled Disney Frozen, you stopped getting hits about Walt Disney's head being frozen somewhere?
Really?
That's the conspiracy theory, and I'm like, I low-key believe
I kind of like it. I kind of like that one, yeah. Of all the conspiracy theories out there, I'll take it.
Like, that would
do you want to guess what the gene name Tin Man means?
I mean, it sounds... I'm trying to think of what you might want to study with a fruit fly. And Tin Man, to me, says arthritis. I'm trying to study arthritis because he's like all stiff.
Oh.
My only thought is it must make him stiff somehow. No.
Is the gene it causes the fly to not have a heart. To man.
That's so much worse than just like
It's
mobility
way
issues.
worse. I was like, oh, stiffness, that would be a lot better than what this actually is doing.
Can it live without a heart?
No. No.
I was gonna say I don't think so. That
Not
feels
for
like
not for
a
very long.
vital.
Maybe briefly, but not for
Right,
very
because
long.
whatever amount of pressure is in the I mean, it
They
flies
have an
really
open remember they
hard.
have an open circulatory
Right,
system.
that's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit different, but I can't imagine it's so different that a heart isn't necessary.
It's still necessary. Here's one for you as an art major. How
Yes.
do you pronounce this? Because I can't.
Okay, I'm ready.
Vangogh.
Okay,
What's
hold
the
on.
correct pronunciation?
Okay. Well, now we're gonna get into a whole thing. It is accepted as Van Gogh,
That's how I
or
would say it.
the English say it Van Gogh, but
Van
the
Gogh.
Austrian pronunciation is Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. So it's
Yes,
the Van Gogh gene.
yes.
And
Taken. He doesn't have any ears to lose.
no, it's not an ear joke. It is a swirl of hair on the adult's wing that resembles Van
Oh,
Gogh's style of painting. That's
Starry
cute, right?
Night. That is sweet. Actually, they think that the swirl that he utilized in so many of his paintings is an effect of his anti-depression medication.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All the weird things we learn about art and really is
Life.
antidepressant? That's
Well, keep in
interesting.
mind the kinds of things they use to treat depression at the
Yeah,
time.
what were they treating depression? How at that
Yeah.
time?
So he spent a lot of time in France and, being sad in the hills. I'm going to quickly look up exactly what it was. What did a foxglove? I knew it was some sort of
Oh, interesting.
low grade poison.
Yeah. I saw
Yeah,
some foxglove growing the other day. It's around. Um,
yeah.
but-
They use that for a lot of things. Like they thought it was a good thing for like epilepsy, and there's been like a lot of debate about whether Van Hoff had like some sort of
wow.
epilepsy, some sort of like bipolar disorder. Clearly he had some sort of mood disorder, but
Mhm.
they're not entirely sure. You are ready for another conspiracy theory? I
Yeah,
think I
sure.
think
God, sorry, Derek. I'm really bumping the mic today.
gotta get back in the habit of it. Yeah.
So close to it. Yeah.
I think that Van Gogh, I'm gonna say Van Gogh just for ease. I don't think he lost his ear in a like fit of pique about a girl. I think Gauguin cut his ear off in a fight.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And no one. Why wouldn't that be part of our history then? Because that's interesting.
So Gauguin, famously very volatile, famously racist, but he was friends with Vincent, and they would like visit each other. And
Hmm.
Gauguin had something of a reputation for brandishing a sword when he was drunk. So that's what I
I'm
think.
gonna brandish mine now when I'm drunk. It's gonna be great.
I'll give you a sword. I'm gonna lose my ear. There's a lot of theories around, because it's a kind of that
Interesting. Yeah, I
same
could
thing with
see
like
that.
Shakespeare, where people try to like either romanticize or de-romanticize a figure in history. They're like, well, Shakespeare couldn't have written all those things because he was just some guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's what writers are.
Yeah, he's
They're
just a
just
guy.
some guy.
Yeah,
Like all our famous authors aren't like,
they're
famous
just
people
people.
who write books. They're people who write books and become famous. Anyway, but and Vincent unfortunately has a lot of like Vincent is just one of those people that has a lot of those. Like, did he commit self-harm? How did he
Oh yeah,
die?
they really romanticize him for some reason.
First, yeah, and like the Doctor Who episode obviously makes you like weep every time that he didn't sell any paintings while he was alive. He had like a really beautiful relationship with his brother, and then his brother's wife, because she like saw how important, because like all the famous paintings are sold by Vincent's brother's wife. She
Oh,
loses both Vincent and Teo die very quickly close to each other. Like I think within 3 years, and then she's
hmm.
left with all these paintings that are just sitting in her house, and now she doesn't have either one of them here. So she starts this, I guess, campaign trail is the only thing I can think of, to make people notice that her brother-in-law, her now dead brother-in-law, was like great at what he did. And so all of his famous paintings are sold by his sister-in-law
Oh wow,
after his
that's
death.
cool. I love an Amanda art history moment.
So,
It's
yeah,
one of my favorite.
okay.
I know a friend of the pod, Ped, also loves an Amanda art history moment. So this one's
Well,
for you, buddy.
if there's ever a specific question you have, let me know, and I'll make sure I research it. I'm not just like, throwing off the things I have in my
Oh,
head,
I should
which may or
also
may not be
thank.
right.
I'm gonna thank Ped and
Oh,
some of the students who let me practice on them the day before my dissertation defense. So thanks, guys. It really was nice. I
so I
was
have.
so bad, and then I was fine for my dissertation, so I don't know what happened.
They're like, I don't know if she's gonna make it. Really, we'll wait to send the. They had two cakes. They had one that said "Congratulations, Dr. Z," and on the other one they said, "You don't need them anyway." And they decided which cake to give you.
Oh yeah, well I forgot to tell you that the ending of the defense.
Yes.
So they kick me out, and then my committee talks to themselves for like 20 minutes, which is pretty anxiety inducing.
Yeah, you're
I'm just
sitting in the
like
hallway
in
like
the hall waiting.
horrible.
Uh, and it's nice because my husband and my friends tell me you did a really good job. You get like you get some love while you're out there.
Right.
And then they open the door, and my advisor comes out and says, "Come on in, Dr. Zimmerman."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and then everyone starts clapping and cheering and crying. And,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great when it's over. And I gave my advisor a gift of the tiniest mosquito painting on the planet.
Mm.
He loved it, thank goodness.
Painted
I
with
have
a
one
single
too.
eyelash.
It's so small. You guys can find it on my Instagram, and the woman who painted it has
Oh
an
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instagram
I
account.
think you did show us that one. Yes.
It's adorable. And I have one too, and I told him I will every time I look at my little mosquito painting, I will think of him and my journey to getting the doctorate. And I'm so glad he was my advisor. He's awesome. But that was, and then afterwards, like I went and got a burger and a drink because I really needed
You
one.
needed it. You needed a
I earned one.
protein carbo load afterwards.
Yeah. I had a fried pickle cheeseburger, and let me tell you, it
Oh,
was
that
amazing.
does sound good.
It was
Oh.
so unhealthy. I've been eating so healthy for like the past few months, trying to keep my brain like ready to go to do this defense. No drinking, eating healthy, getting a lot of sleep, going to the gym literally twice a day, Amanda. Twice a day, like a maniac.
Because just like to work off some of the anxiety,
Couldn't
or
sleep. Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
oh my
So I went to the
god.
gym twice a day. It's fine. Now I'm like, okay, I feel like I can eat a cheeseburger.
I wish I was the kind of anxious where I like had nervous energy, but I'm the kind of anxious where like I can't do anything. I like get
Yeah.
paralyzed. And then, I'm like,
Well, I
look at
couldn't do anything useful. I'm like, I
yes,
guess I'll just go to the gym. I can't accomplish anything else. At least I know I can do that.
I guess I'll deep clean my house. My friend has that kind of anxiety where she's like, I guess I'll deep clean the house now. And I'm like, I wish I had that kind of anxiety. I do not.
It's a
Uh,
curse and a superpower at the same
yeah.
time.
So I have tossed a fruit fly art
Oh,
into
let
the
me see.
Discord.
Let me see.
Um,
Oh, Amanda, look at that cutie.
so I did the forearms thing that we do pretty commonly. I feel like we do that one. Bugs have
Yeah.
6 limbs. But I put the 2 arms in front doing that little thing I hate where they rub their little hands.
The little
Yes,
cleaning
and I've
pose.
given them a banana, and it looks like an apple, but it's meant to be a tomato. Because I feel like tomatoes are one of the ones where, like, you can't bring a tomato into the house without bringing in 16 fruit flies.
Yeah, a whole gaggle of fruit flies. Look at how cute it is.
Yeah, and then I went ahead and did the graduation cap just because I think that it's funny. Big old eyes behind some glasses. Typical, I gotta draw a smart person character design. I'll give them big old glasses.
Big eyes and glasses. Yeah.
Correct. And then
Classic.
standing upon a pile of books to show metaphorically the shoulders of giants that we all stand upon.
Oh yeah.
When we do research, you're building on someone else's research, building on someone else's
Always.
research.
That's the importance of publishing, so that we can read everyone else's research and then design ours based on, what works and what doesn't. What do we know? What don't we know?
Yeah.
Being a researcher is about filling in the gaps of life.
Wow, poetic.
Didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
The gaps of life.
But
Wow.
it's great. I love it, Amanda. It's adorable.
Very
His little
simple,
doctor. Look at him.
very basic this week, but I felt like that was appropriate. Anything else you want to say about being a doctor, about the importance of research, and about how...
I want to say thank you to our listeners for hanging out, waiting for a new episode while I completed this. We didn't get complaints, so thanks everybody. I appreciate the support. I have gotten a few nice, Instagram messages from listeners, saying good luck and then congratulating me afterwards, and I love that. Thank you for thinking of me, guys. Really appreciate it. And if you want to get a PhD and you need to chat with someone, I'm here. I'm here to listen. I don't mind. You've got our email.
We could toss up a ask us any questions about becoming a doctor on the Reddit as well, if you're comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, I could do an AMA on the Reddit, I guess. That's fine. We can pick a good a day when people are around. I don't know.
Yeah, I think just toss it up and people could come.
I'll just toss it up and I'll just check it every once in a while. So totally fine.
I really thought you were going to say, and if you want to send me congratulations, you can find us at the Reddit.
I wouldn't say that. It's weird.
Well, if you want to send Dr. Kelly congratulations, you can find us on the Reddit, on Instagram, on Facebook groups, wherever these fine products are sold.
On Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky.
Yeah, we're on Blue Sky as well. We are out there. Come find us. Come find the bugs. They're where you find them.
And thank you, Derek and Amanda, for the sword. I love you.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You'll have to hang that puppy up somewhere. It's got to be somewhere where you can reach it easily in case of zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah, it's important.
Although you're high up in a apartment building, you'd have lots of warning. I think if there was something going down,
I could grab it last minute. Yeah, it's fine. I might hang it behind me.
Yeah.
I might hang it behind me.
That's a good spot. And also somewhere where the cats won't knock it down and accidentally chop off their own tail and
skewer themselves.
Yeah,
I already have a 3-legged cat. We don't need to lose any more.
Well, he's about to become a 2-legged cat, so
he'll have no tail now.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Manx cat now. Other than that, thanks Joe, I guess, for supporting our dear doctor. I don't know if he got a shout out or not. Spouses should always get a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
And a shout out to me for being so supportive. And feel free to come support us on the internet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's it. I love you. Bye. Bugs Need Heroes was created by Derek Conrad and Kelly Zimmerman. Hosted by Amanda Niday and Kelly Zimmerman. Bugs Need Heroes is produced and edited by Derek Conrad, with some assistance from Chelsea Bodden and a few cats. Character art is by Amanda Niday. Our music is Ladybug Castle by Roll Music. Got a bug question? Email us at bugsneedheroes@gmail.com. Check us out at bugsneedheroes.com, and most of the socials are under Bugs Need Heroes. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to Bugs Need Heroes, a podcast where an insect... Oh, nope, I didn't say that right at all. Where an insect and an entomologist team up.